You've heard people say, taxes are the price we pay for civilization. But what if the entire system, the IRS, the forms, the endless paperwork, just vanished overnight? Imagine a single day when Americans wake up and realize there's no income tax, no IRS knocking at your door, no accountant juggling deductions and loopholes, just a brand new way to pay every time you buy, every time you spend. Sounds wild, right? Well, that's exactly what former President Donald Trump is promising if he wins again in 2025. He calls it the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, a sweeping reform that, in his words, will make America rich again. A plan that claims to end the IRS, replace income tax with one national consumption tax, and rewrite the way America earns, spends, and grows. But hold on. What does that really mean for the average American? Will this plan actually boost your paycheck, or just shift the burden to your grocery bill? Could it really simplify life for millions, or will it leave the middle class footing a bigger share of the cost? In this video, we're breaking down the truth behind Trump's 2025 tax revolution, what it means for families, businesses, and your wallet. Because this isn't just another political promise, it's a blueprint to rebuild the American economy, or reshape it forever. So, could this be the biggest financial reset in U.S. history? Let's find out. For decades, Americans have lived under one of the most complicated tax systems in the world. Every spring feels like a battlefield. Numbers, forms, deductions, audits, and that constant fear of those three letters everyone dreads, IRS. But Trump's new pitch for 2025 is bold, loud, and completely different. He's saying, let's tear down the old system and start from scratch. Under what he calls the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, Trump wants to replace the entire federal tax structure with one simple idea: a national consumption tax. Instead of taxing your paycheck or your business income, the government would tax what you spend. Every product, every service, every purchase, and that would carry a flat rate. You earn, you keep it. You buy, you pay. No accountants, no lawyers, no audit letters buried in the mail. Trump says you'll pay when you buy, that's it. This fair tax system, as he calls it, isn't just a tweak. It's a complete reset. He wants to eliminate the income tax, corporate tax, and even the estate tax, all of it, gone. In return, one unified tax on goods and services would replace everything else. To his supporters, it sounds like a revolution. Simple, transparent, no loopholes, no hidden deductions, no special favors for billionaires. Just one rule for everyone, rich or poor, business owner or worker. But here's where the debate begins. Critics argue this kind of plan could hit lower and middle-income families the hardest, because when everything you buy, groceries, gas, utilities, comes with a national tax, families who spend most of their income on essentials might end up paying more overall, even if their paychecks look bigger. Economists are divided. Some say a consumption-based system encourages saving and investment, boosting productivity. Others warn it could widen inequality, creating a heavier burden for everyday Americans, while the wealthy feel less impact. Still, Trump insists it's the path to freedom. He calls it economic independence, saying Americans deserve to decide how much tax they pay, by how much they spend, not by how much they earn. Think about it. No April deadlines. No IRS agents. No fear of getting it wrong. Just one system. Fast, clean, automatic. For many Americans who felt crushed by taxes for decades, it sounds like a dream. But for others, it sounds like the start of something far more unpredictable. Could it really work? Or is it just another political promise wrapped in bold headlines? Trump's plan doesn't stop at ending the IRS. He says it'll bring back jobs, rebuild industries, and flood America with money that's been sitting overseas for years. And that's where the next part of this story begins. Trump's plan goes far beyond replacing the IRS. He says this isn't just about taxes. It's about rebuilding America's entire financial engine. And that starts with one thing: money coming home. According to Trump, trillions of dollars are sitting overseas, money made by American corporations but kept in foreign accounts to avoid high U.S. taxes. His idea is simple: bring it back. He promises a one-time low tax rate for companies that return those funds to the U.S. economy. He calls it a repatriation wave, one that could rebuild roads, create jobs, and re-energize manufacturing right here at home. He says this influx of capital will fund new factories, expand small businesses, and boost infrastructure projects that have been ignored for decades. In his words, it's about making America produce again. But this plan isn't just about business. It's also about how the average American lives. Trump wants to introduce what he calls the freedom filing system. It's a one-page, simplified tax return for those who still need to file for certain credits or exemptions. He says it's so simple it could fit on a postcard. No complicated forms, no endless calculations, no hidden surprises. For small business owners, his plan includes a new incentive called the Made in America deduction. Companies that produce at least 80% of their goods domestically would qualify for a 10% tax deduction. Trump says this will push manufacturers to bring their operations back from overseas, helping American workers instead of foreign labor. And when it comes to the middle class, Trump claims his tax reform will restore what he calls financial freedom. His proposal includes expanding the child tax credit, raising the standard deduction, and removing what he calls Biden's inflation tax. He says this will put more cash directly into the hands of working families and rebuild confidence in the American economy. The message is clear. Trump believes his new system will unleash growth like never before. He promises more spending power for families, higher wages for workers, and a stronger backbone for U.S. businesses. But the big question remains: can it all work? Critics warn that without major spending cuts, the national consumption tax could raise prices across the board. Some economists argue that in the short term, it could even fuel inflation. But Trump's team says the plan will balance itself, that productivity, investment, and job creation will stabilize the economy faster than people think. He also hints at a complete technological overhaul of how taxes are collected. Instead of traditional IRS agents, a new digital system would automatically collect tax at the point of sale. Every transaction would be processed instantly. No audits, no agents, no fear. Trump says, "We're ending the IRS as you know it." To his supporters, this is the ultimate move: an end to government overreach, more privacy, and more control in the hands of the people. To his critics, it's an experiment too big, too sudden, and too risky. But one thing is certain: if implemented, this plan would completely transform how America earns, spends, and saves. It's not just a tax reform, it's a financial revolution. And the story doesn't end here, because the next part of this plan dives even deeper into what Trump calls the comeback of the American worker. Trump says this plan isn't just about fixing taxes, it's about bringing American jobs back home. For years, factories have closed, towns have gone quiet, and entire industries have moved overseas. But in his 2025 vision, Trump claims he's ready to reverse that. He believes that by cutting corporate taxes, simplifying the system, and rewarding businesses that produce in America, companies will have no reason to stay abroad. The goal is simple: make it cheaper and smarter to build, hire, and manufacture right here in the United States. He calls it the Great American Rebuild, a revival of industry that he says will restore the middle class, strengthen communities, and give power back to working families. Under the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, Trump promises that every small business, every factory owner, every entrepreneur will feel the impact. No more chasing loopholes, no more complicated tax codes, just one clean system, predictable, fast, and fair. He says this will open doors for millions of new jobs: construction, energy, technology, and manufacturing, all fueled by lower taxes and higher incentives to produce domestically. According to his plan, if a company builds 80% of its goods in America, it'll get a 10% tax deduction. Trump says that's how you make Made in America mean something again. For workers, the message is powerful. More jobs, higher wages, less red tape. For business owners, it's stability. And for the economy, he calls it a ripple effect of growth, where spending, investment, and innovation all move faster because the system finally gets out of the way. But not everyone agrees. Economists warn that these changes could have a heavy impact on federal revenue. Without income taxes, the government would depend almost entirely on consumption taxes. That means if people stop spending, the government stops earning. It's a risky bet, one that could reshape everything from public funding to social programs. Still, Trump's supporters say that risk is worth it. They see this plan as a return to common sense, letting people keep what they earn and decide how much they pay based on how much they spend. They believe it's the kind of bold thinking that could unlock a new era of American growth. And while critics call it unrealistic, Trump calls it freedom. Freedom from the IRS, from complicated tax codes, and from what he calls decades of economic manipulation. He says this isn't just a tax reform, it's a movement, one designed to rebuild the American spirit, a promise to restore the value of work, reward productivity, and make the U.S. economy stronger than ever before. So, the question is, can one bill really change it all? Can a single reform bring back the jobs, rebuild industries, and reshape the way America runs its economy? That's the debate dividing economists, politicians, and families across the nation. But one thing's for sure. If this plan ever becomes law, it won't just change the tax code. It'll change the future of America itself. At the end of the day, Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill Act isn't just a policy idea. It's a complete reimagining of how America earns, spends, and grows. It's bold, it's risky, and it's controversial. But it's also the kind of idea that forces every American to ask, what do we really want from our economy? If this plan works the way Trump envisions, everyday people could see real change. Simpler taxes mean fewer headaches. No IRS means more freedom and less fear. Bigger paychecks, stronger businesses, and jobs returning home. That's the promise. Imagine keeping more of what you earn. Imagine running your small business without drowning in forms and federal rules. Imagine paying taxes only when you spend, not when you work hard to make a living. That's the vision behind this plan, putting the power back in the hands of the people, not the government. But here's the truth. No matter where you stand politically, this proposal matters because it could redefine the American dream. The question is whether it will lift everyone together or leave some behind. So as voters, as business owners, as families, we need to stay informed, pay attention, and ask the tough questions. Because one bill, one signature, could rewrite the financial reality of an entire nation. If you want to understand how this change could affect your paycheck, your family, or your future, keep watching, keep questioning, and never stop learning. And if you found this breakdown helpful, don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who needs to understand what's really coming, and subscribe for more clear, no-spin explanations of the stories shaping your money and your world. Because what happens next could be the biggest financial shift in modern American history.